Let's go! Who's up next?
Take it away, Kev.
Welcome, one and all, once again to another episode of Xbox Empire. It is I, your host, Kevin, and with me, of course, is my co-host, Mr. Keith Diamond. I mean, Donnie Reese.
Nice. Greetings, Kooplings. Still upset that I can't have that Twitter handle.
That would have been fantastic. Petition, free Keith Diamond. Hashtag
That's right.
Free Keith Diamond. That's the new trend.
We need to get like a comic book illustrator or something to bring this character to life. It's not a bad idea. It could be
That's
a
a
lot of fun.
great idea. Let's get a commission. We can commission people. They do it all the time at Comic-Cons. Also with us, I don't know why. I think he stumbled into the wrong chat room. Seth.
Howdy.
Are you supposed to be here?
I think so.
Did you get lost? Did you wander into the wrong room?
I did not. I'm wearing the right shirt.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's the right shirt, isn't it? It's PSVG. It's just it's a weird logo.
It's the most popular logo. It's the popular vote.
Yeah.
By far the winner. It's not.
We're
even
not a
close,
popular
Kev.
podcast, so why does that even matter? Really, we're the underdog, so you know. Yeah.
Well, even the underdog has to create something cool every now and then. I mean, look at Game Pass.
That's right.
That is something that's pretty cool. Created by the underdog that is Microsoft. Everybody's the biggest underdog in the world.
Well, let's remember, Underdog, the actual superhero / cartoon character, he popped pills, okay? That's his power. He took drugs to get his powers. That's not what we want to endorse.
Have you seen that new movie on Netflix? It has
No,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it.
No.
And Chris... No,
Is this an
Chris Rock.
underdog movie? What?
No, but they take pills and they get like random superpowers.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I didn't know where you were going with that, but
For like 5 minutes.
for somebody
Oh,
that
no,
doesn't know, it's a little weird to hear.
Yeah, I
That's
thought
a
you
weird
meant an
tangent.
Underdog movie, like a remake, because they did Woody Woodpecker. So
I was like,
that's
"There's an
not a
underdog movie
possibility.
with Joseph Gordon-Levitt? What the hell?"
Yeah, he's Underdog. He's popping pills, you know.
I don't know
Anyway,
where we are.
Yeah, we've already derailed, and this is what happens.
Is this the PlayStation show?
No, we're not yelling enough yet. We got to
Okay.
yell more and make CW TV show.
They
references.
talked more
That-
about
that-
Xbox this week than we probably will.
I haven't listened to theirs yet.
I realized on the last time, I think it was last week, that I was on the flagship Prime.
Couple weeks ago, but yeah.
I made a remark about how good PSXP was when I was the host, and it was in
Right.
reference to Forza. Which, of course, why would we be talking about Forza on PSXP?
Right.
I don't know.
Who knows? But we are here, folks, for all of you, the listeners. And of course, we have to thank those very special listeners who support us over at patreon.com/PSVG. So special thank yous to Edwin Callow, Barry Cathcart, Josh, the Bonesaw Barboni, Chris McElfresh, Dev Tyus, Kyle Heyman, Paul Calicote, Mike Masick, The Egg Shin, Zach Bradshaw, and of course, Nick Fahaba. Thank you all for your love and support. And hey, if you don't support us and you'd like to, toss a couple bucks over to us over at patreon.com/PSVG. That's enough of the housekeeping, guys. We have a full docket this evening with a lot to talk about, including something that Seth was just allowed to talk about an hour ago. His review just posted. Seth, you got to play Battletoads.
Yes, I did. Got Battletoads. I think I got the code last Thursday or Friday.
I think so.
And today's the embargo. It officially comes out tomorrow to Xbox and Game Pass, and I think
Actually,
on
it's live.
PC. It's live now.
It's
Yeah.
live on Game Pass
Yeah.
right now. So if you're watching right now, you can stop watching and go play. No, we don't want that. But you could play Battletoads after the show's over.
They've been
could,
doing that
yes.
a lot. They'll have like a
Yeah.
release, and it's just like that night they're like, just put it on.
Like, bah, the embargo's up. Let's just release the game.
Pretty
Who
much.
cares?
Makes sense. I got it about a week ago, and now I played Battletoads as a kid, but I'm pretty convinced that I probably never beat even the speeder level, which I
Yeah.
think might be the second level in the whole
Yeah,
game. I don't know. It's
yeah.
pretty early. I know that I played like the first level and the speeder bike level probably 50 times when I was a kid. And I played Battletoads and Double Dragons quite a bit. And those are really, and other than that, I haven't thought about Battletoads in like 26 years, other than when Phil wears the Battletoads shirt on the E3
Right.
stage and people talk about it. So I actually, until this game was officially revealed like a month or two ago, wasn't certain it was coming. I mean, I knew it was out there, but until it was coming, I didn't know. And I didn't know that I wanted to play it either until I started playing it. So I don't know. Are either of you classic?
I've never
fans?
played Battletoads.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I don't think I heard the word Battletoads until Phil wore that shirt and started talking about stage. That wasn't a thing during the 360 era. It wasn't a thing when I bought. So when I had my first Xbox, because I did have the original Xbox, I wasn't following game news then. I'm not exactly sure how much game news really was around outside of like magazines, which at that point in time I was getting like PlayStation Mag because it had demos.
Yep.
And then Xbox 360 comes around. I'm pretty sure there wasn't a lick of mention of a Battletoads then.
Yeah,
When I first started following game news, I never heard about it. Yeah. So it wasn't until Phil wore that shirt and everybody started going nuts about Battletoads where I was like, what's Battletoads?
Yeah. I mean, there hasn't been a game since 94 was the
Super
last.
Nintendo, right?
There was a Super Nintendo game, Battletoads.
I was
I forget
6.
what that was. And then in 94 was Battletoads and Double Dragons and the last arcade game. There was a Battletoads arcade game. Right. So there hasn't been one since 94. And this game really, if you look back, I don't know about the arcade game, but if you look back at the original, it was originally on NES and then Genesis.
Who made it? So my question is, how did Xbox come by this? Is it Rare?
Rare.
Okay.
Rare. Yeah.
Rare made it, and then this new game is developed by, I don't know if it's pronounced Delala.
Okay, so
Studios. They worked on Sea of Thieves with Rare.
So Microsoft acquires Rare from Nintendo. Yep. Has all of these years where they don't make a Rare IP, and then they revive Battletoad.
Yep.
All right. I'm caught up to speed. I got it.
Keep in mind, and I'm not going to give you too much flack for it because Jason and I already picked on you guys for not knowing Super Smash TV. Like
I'm not old. I'm sorry.
No, and that's fine. Hey, I said I wasn't going to pick on you, but Battletoads is a very iconic game from that era. Like that was the thing. You had Double Dragon, you had Battletoads. It was known for being infamously hard. But it was a well-developed and designed game. So bringing it back does pull some nostalgia strings. Like think of, for some, right? When you brought back Kid Icarus on 3DS, and people were like, oh my god, there's been a Kid Icarus in like 20 something years. This is the same thing. It's just a different era that you just don't connect with that. But for a lot of people, they get really excited for it. A lot of people are like, who? Like you are? Like, why do I care about this? But
well, I mean,
it is a big deal.
My point really is, of all the IP to pull that would have notoriety and would excite people, you pull an obscure one. Even if it was in its day in 1994 a thing, obviously Banjo or Conquer would be a better thing.
Sure, but we just played Streets of Rage though too.
I would even argue that like Viva Pinata might be a bigger thing.
I have no. On the other hand, I'm almost 35, and while I never beat Battletoads or whatever, like the name Battletoads means something to me and got me. And I thought the game looked good, but eventually got me interested in it and wanting to play it. Where I haven't touched Viva Pinata. I've never played Conquer. I've never played whatever that other one you mentioned was.
Banjo-Kazooie.
That might just be Nintendo fan speaking, really.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was as soon as we over at Games Reviews, as soon as it came up, I saw it right away and was lucky to be able to jump on it and get it early. Obviously, I have Game Pass. I would have played it anyway. But it's really good. You can go to gamesreviews.com right now and see my review that says it was written by Kevin Austin. But that's
Ghostwriter.
Okay. Yeah.
That does my ghostwriter. He does.
I'm Kevin's ghostwriter. I'm used to being a ghostwriter.
So you liked it?
Yes. Yeah, loved it. It's I played it on the second difficulty. There's 3 difficulties: Tadpole, Toad, and Battletoad. I played on Toad, and it it was a good level. Wasn't too hard, and definitely wasn't too easy. But I never got frustrated. There was one time. There's one level where it's more of like a platformer where you have to get down to the bottom of the level while there's some goo chasing you.
Oh, interesting.
And there was one part where you have to do kind of a free fall and not get impaled on any spikes. And I didn't realize there was a button that made you float. So I was just trying to, like, as you're plummeting to the ground, trying to go back and forth really quick to not get impaled by spikes. But only after, like, I swear 20 times I realized there was I realized there was a float button. So, and then once I did that, I got through it. So that's sort of, now I don't know if that's user error or if that's the game should have told me.
Sure.
One thing, I think it's been in the marketing for the game, is it has a bunch of different genres. There's the classic beat 'em up, side scrolling left to right beat 'em up kind of gameplay. There's the speeder bike gameplay. There's twin stick shooters. There's some puzzle platformers. There's all sorts of different. Almost every level is a different genre, and
it's completely co-op. I can play this with Jack the entire time.
Yes, you can.
Ooh,
now I didn't
nice.
play co-op because I only have one controller.
Sure.
But yeah, you can play the whole time. It's drop in, drop out, and I think you guys will have a blast with it.
I'm definitely playing it. So,
what score did you give it?
I gave it a 9.
Oh wow!
Now it's not a long game. I beat it in 4 hours.
Okay.
Had I not had that little error in that level, it would have been 3:45. So I beat it in 4 hours, and then in each level there are, I think, like 5 collectibles that you can find. They're just like yellow diamonds, and so I found maybe half of them through the levels. So I have easy to go back and replay all of those levels. There's also, each one has a time limit.
Do you get anything for collecting them all? Do you get like a cool weapon or outfit or jacket or something?
And just an achievement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but it's a reason to go back and hunt for things. There's also like score chasing. I don't think there's any leaderboards though. But
not.
you
In the
you
chat,
compile
I'm
a
being
score.
told that it's currently running at a 70 on OpenCritic and has a lot of 5s and 9s. So it's pretty divisive. It seems that
5s
people
and
either
9s, yeah.
really like it or they find it somewhat middling.
I would wonder some of the people who don't like it, if it's because it's not what they wanted it to be.
Sure.
I can see if you love the original Battletoads, you not being into this partly because of the animation style, which I think it looks great.
I think it looks good too.
But it's
every time
very
I've seen
much
it, I thought it looks pretty good.
like a late 90s, early 2000s Nickelodeon cartoon.
That's awesome.
Which I think I think it's great, but I could see where some people who are, grew up with Battletoads and watched the Battletoads cartoon and all that kind of stuff would be like, oh, this isn't what I want. But again, this is going to appeal to Donnie and Jack.
Right.
Or maybe more to Jack.
We did Street Fighter or Streets of Rage.
Streets
together.
of Rage.
It
You'd
was
probably
the
like
first
this
game
one.
he ever did because we could never play it co-op together. He's seen me I've showed him Streets of Rage because that's a franchise I love. It's like maybe like one of the older ones that I really dig, and we couldn't play them together on 3DS, right? So when it came to Xbox, I was like, let's sit down, and we went through it together and we had a blast. So that's been my go for this the entire time was, well, if it's like that at all, maybe I got a chance I could sit down and play with them. And I don't want to derail your review, but one of the things with Game Pass that we've kind of talked about on this show and other shows for maybe the past year is its effect on game making. And one of the things that I thought that it could have is maybe it could mean shorter release games that I'm totally fine with. I would love to have a 4-hour indie-ish Game Pass game every month. You give me one of those every month. It's just kind of maybe it's because I like Streets of Rage, but it's a kind of a comfort food. Like I like the idea that I can sit down and play something and beat it in a weekend or a week, and I don't have to, do the math that we gamers have accustomed to doing, and I have to plan out 4 months to figure out how to beat Cyberpunk when ultimately fail after 20 days of playing it straight, realizing 10% in, right? I like that. So I'm glad to hear it.
That is one thing, when I beat it this morning, and it gives you your total play time, and like I said, just over 4 hours for me. The game doesn't overstay its welcome. It's just as long as it needs to be. The levels are just as long as they need to be, and the variety where you'll have a beat 'em up level, and then the next level will be a speeder bike, and then the next one will be some silly mini game that is just goofy. And none of it overstays its welcome.
That also might be too why some reviewers weren't crazy about is the fact of the different genres. Before, it was very much like, yes, you had your speeder bike level, but it was very much to give credit, which is why I'm kind of surprised you weren't into it at all, Donnie. It was very much Streets of Rage. It was Double Dragon, Streets of Rage. Like, that's what Battletoads was. It was just frogs instead of people.
I just never. Here's the thing. It's not that I didn't like it. I never heard about it. Right, it never got to me for whatever. I don't know what reason why. I think Streets of Rage is pretty popular. It has remakes and it gets virtual console support and gets re-releases and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I just never heard of it. It was literally the first time. I remember when it was announced and everybody was like, Battletoads. I was like, I don't understand why everybody's excited.
I'm a little confused too. And I'm still going to play it. I'm excited to play it, but I'm a little confused too as the choice of doing different genres like per level. Like that is a little weird to me, just you saying that. And I didn't know that going into this. So that's a little bit of a surprise.
I hope I didn't spoil. It doesn't really matter. There is a story here. The story's fine. It's a 2000 era
I wanted to ask you
story.
Is it like an homage to the 90s? Is it full of like 90s puns and stuff, or is it like very much a whole new thing? It's a modern.
It's a modern thing. I think it's some of it. It's self-referential a lot, which even for me, flew over my head quite a bit. Self-referential of past Battletoads games. Okay. So obviously you won't get that. But
so
that
if you've played
really
it before,
matter.
If you've got that nostalgia and you're bringing it to the table, you might get a little bit more payoff. That's cool.
Yeah. But I don't think there was, major like 90s references or anything that I picked up on.
Okay.
But it's fun. I love the variety. Now there aren't as many of the beat 'em up levels as I thought there would be. I kind of kept waiting. I was like, okay, we keep doing these other kinds of levels. When are we going to get back to the bread and butter? And we didn't. But I liked what I was playing, so.
That's good.
Rather than grade it because it's not something, grade it because of what it is.
Right. No, that makes sense. So yeah, you can check out Seth's full review over at gamesreviews.com to check out his whole full rundown. But yeah, if you're not playing it, Seth says you should give it a whirl, especially if you have Game Pass. Why Absolutely. The heck not?
Yeah, play something.
Next up in releases from Microsoft is Microsoft Flight Simulator also came out this week on Game Pass and Steam, of course. Currently, to no surprise here, the game is the highest rated game on PC this year and the highest rated game from Xbox Game Studios this generation.
That's to no surprise?
Yeah,
I'm very surprised.
Xbox Game Studios doesn't put out any games, and PC doesn't
that's
have
part
any.
Of it.
Wow,
that's
any games.
Certainly part of it right there.
You guys are killing me.
The reason I say to no surprise, Donnie, is that I knew going into this that this game production value was going to be absolutely through the roof. Now, I might challenge the fact that
10 out of 10 through the.
Well, no, this is what I'm saying. I might challenge the fact that it's called a game. Because it's a simulator, and I get that there's missions and stuff. I get that,
yeah.
But the game it's not meant to be like you're not playing like Rogue Squadron. You're not playing Star Fox. It's not that kind of flight type game. You're just I'm gonna take off and I'm gonna leave from Chicago and I'm gonna land in Ohio. Like that's what I'm doing.
I played it.
Yeah,
I played it last night. I installed it. I had a rough landing, to use a pun. It was a little rough out of the gate. I installed it and I tried to get back in. Every time I started a mission, it would the load times are long. At least for me, the load times are really long.
I did I think I read one review on it, and it said like 4 minutes to get into an airport,
like a mission. And I would do one, and for the first maybe 5 that I tried, because I tried starting before dinner, and it didn't work. And then I tried after dinner, and it still didn't work. So like, but yeah, so like 10 minutes would go by, and I would just see this loading bar that was 100% done, and nothing would happen. So
they should at least put you in like an airport queue, like having TSA pat you down while you're waiting to at least make it an authentic experience here.
So I kept trying, and eventually when I rebooted the game on like the 10th time, it said, "Oh, you've got a 9 gigabyte update patch to run," when it never did it the first time. So I ran that and let that go again. Last night I started playing about 1 in the morning. I was hanging out after watching TV with the wife, and I was like, I'm just going to sit down and play it. And I went through the training missions. I learned how to take off. I learned how to fly. I learned how to land. I flew a flight from just south of Jacksonville to Atlanta, because I said I wanted to land a plane in Atlanta because I've been on that runway. I know the airport. So I wanted to see something familiar. And I wanted to drive up the coastline. I thought that would look pretty, and it did. And it was cool, and it used like real world weather and the night sky and everything was awesome. And I landed my little plane in Atlanta, and then I promptly uninstalled the game. Look, I mean, I won't say whether or not it is or isn't a game. I think you can make that case for far more games than this one.
Oh yeah.
But I do understand the idea behind that premise. It's definitely not something like I would be into playing, and I knew that before I got into it. We were talking about it a month ago, Kevin. I told you I was going to boot it up and land a plane. Want to see what it's like, but this is not something I ever had any intention of actually playing. No, I won't install it when it comes to Xbox for that matter. I turned all of the control assists on, every one of them. I tried to make this game as easy as possible. Yeah. I was playing on a controller, and even then, I still felt like I needed my mouse and keyboard. Yep. Maybe I don't, and maybe people out there that played it more, can show me the reasons why, but I turned every assist on and everything that I could find, and there were still moments where I needed a hotkey that I'm sure you could map in some combination to the controller. It's just, it wasn't out of the box ready for that. Right. Like, even though I was using a controller, it was like press Alt F8, and I was like, oh God. And when I did it, actually, I've got the Logitech Ergo keyboard, so my function keys aren't exactly the same as as a typical one. Right. So it started recording the game for whatever reason. It's just like, oh my God. And it was real touchy. That's the only feedback I can really give you. Like, playing on a controller was real sensitive. So I toned that down a bit. And even then it's hard because it doesn't have standard console controller interfaces. Even navigating the menus is kind of weird with a controller.
Right. Is this game coming to Xbox?
It is.
I don't remember.
It's been totally announced for Xbox. They are going to bring it to Xbox. Phil Spencer said when they announced it, it'll be the first flight simulator to hit Xbox. And I'm happy because apparently, because you remember, we had the person in the chat that told us that it was going to sell gangbusters. He was right. People on Steam are buying this game left and right, even with it being
told you it was going to sell.
Like,
I agree with you. You were the one that was shocked. I said yes, it will, because it always sells well. But yeah, I just can't imagine it being. And Dev says in the chat that it's going to be 2021. Like you said, these games are not meant to play on controllers. Like it is very much more complicated than that. So I am really shocked that, number one, Xbox is going to be able to run it at the level that we are seeing it being run at right now. Maybe obviously everybody's computer is different. That's true. It could. It just seems like a weird choice to bring to Xbox. Like, I get you can do it, but it's one of those questions like, why?
Yeah, I would imagine if you're really into the experience, you're gonna want to play. Because I mean, look, I have the ultra wide monitor. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was really cool. As I started making my approach into Hartsfield, I was like, that is Hartsfield. Like, it legit looks the same. I get it. And I retweeted a few folks today from the Xbox Empire on Twitter, if you guys want to follow us. There are folks that are like, look, we've been trapped in our house all year, and my daughter and I were planning to go to Disney World, and we couldn't make it. So we flew a plane there, and there's like all kinds of stuff like that today, and that is cool. I'm not going to rob anything from them. This just isn't a game I was into. My stance doesn't change. I saw people that were like, Microsoft better buy this studio up, because the game's so good. It's like, how about look, my stance, again, has not changed. How about we make a different game?
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. It's very cool, but it's just
not for me.
But, right.
And I don't think it's going to be for many, but for those that they're into. I saw a streamer today on Twitch, by the way, and they were very popular. I don't remember their name because I don't do the Twitch stuff, but they had like thousands of followers.
It wasn't Dr. Disrespect.
It was not him.
He's not playing.
But they were dressed up like the Foo Fighter pilots.
He's not playing on Twitch.
In the music videos. And they kept doing like commands. There was 3 of them. They kept doing it together, and they kept checking, they kept checking the dials and stuff, and kept reading out commands to each other and making their approaches. And they had little radio gifts and everything. I was like, that's pretty awesome. Like, that's content that I don't think any other game can give you.
It's role playing in real life. You're just pretending you're airline pilots. Yeah. Now you need to get hammered first and then do that.
Man, if they had like stewardesses come in and stuff, that would have taken it up a notch. I didn't even think about that.
That's part of the streaming experience, Donnie.
Yeah.
It's
all good.
You've got a woman in the household.
Oh gosh.
Oh jeez. Let's not go here. All right,
Seth
moving on.
does not speak on behalf of the thoughts and condone. The Xbox Empire does not condone.
No, yes, this is why Seth is not invited on podcasts. I'm just kidding. This isn't Prime, Seth. You can't get away with this stuff. We have a different standards here.
But this is Xbox. Isn't Xbox edgy?
Just because it's going to be a monolith box. Yeah,
not as edgy as Sega, I'll tell you that.
Sega.
Dude, I'm telling you, you guys got to watch that high score thing. There's a whole thing dedicated to Sega, and we were just having a blast.
I'm going to watch it. But so now onto the Xbox news. There's a lot also that's been going on besides releases. So first one coming out, an upcoming Monster Energy drink promotion slated to kick off September 1st. Obviously, I don't know if it's still going to happen, but it did list 200 prizes consisting of a copy of Halo Infinite and a Series X console with a total ARV value of $119,998, which if you do the math equals $599.99 each. The fine print acknowledges that the MSRP is yet to be revealed, but we know that's not stopping anyone from running with those hype things. Alana Pierce also added to this rumor when mentioning an anonymous source shared an internal SKU system for the Xbox Series X listed at $600.
I hate this rumor because everybody ran with the headlines. Anybody worth their weight went back and checked like any other system launch where they found the same anomalies and they reported that. But obviously that was like 10% of the blogs that ran with the story.
Oh, sure.
Like the headline came out and they were like, Xbox Series X is $600. Windows Central was like, well, the Xbox One did this and also in their promotion said it was $700 and it released it, So yeah, it's not. I don't think it's going to be 600.
No, it's with promotions with companies doing the giveaways. They're full on guessing at 100%. And the one thing I will say though about the SKU, now every place is different, but from my experience having worked at Toys R Us, KB Toys, Best Buy, and Target during console launches of varieties, when a SKU's added into the system prior to the release date, it was always $999. Not a weird number like $599.99. So I'm not sure. Once again, every place is different, but my experience, typically the false one would be something astronomical that people would not pay to prevent it from happening. But it was always $1,000, not $600. So I'm not sure where to land on this. But if it's $600, dude, I'm not happy about that.
Well, that's where I wanted to go with it because not for this rumor, but I do think there's a chance that exists that it could be $600. Microsoft did a big old tech deep dive at Hot Chips this weekend where they talked about how powerful their chip is. Full RDNA 2.0, has all the things in it. There's lots of console wars on Twitter if you want to go get into it and find out about which chip is better. I think it's pretty standard and accepted now that the Xbox Series chip, right, their APU is going to be able to do things that the PlayStation 1 just can't, or at least have advantages of doing so.
I prefer the Pringles chips over the Lay's. They hold up better.
But the price for this chip, this manufacturing chip and everything is going to be through the roof. It's going to cost a lot, and it might drive up the price of the console. I don't think it will. I still think that they're going to sell this at a loss. I think that's the whole point of having the S. Yeah. They're going to sell the X at a loss. They're going to make up the revenue on the S. I think that's the whole point of the two structure.
I think so.
I think it would be dead in the water for Xbox to not match PlayStation, and I said that. This isn't me trying to say I'm right, but I said that like a year ago. Right? I've been saying this the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Xbox will announce a price until PlayStation announces a price because it screwed them last time. There's no incentive to do it. Sony is the market leader. They have the built-in install base. They're going to have built-in sales. When the moment Sony announces pre-orders, they're going to sell out because they already have people they don't have people that are going to buy them without trying to choose. Xbox is the one that has people trying to choose. They have all the incentive to hold out as long as possible. If it's a day before the damn thing launches, they should just. There's no incentive for them to not to launch early.
That's what I was going to bring it up. Was the rumored release dates we saw
Yeah.
has Xbox coming out first, doesn't it?
It does by a week.
They do have to announce. Sony could wait till the week before.
They could.
Xbox cannot.
I think they would just delay.
Oh yeah, well that's true. Microsoft would be like, all right, you know what? It's not coming out now.
Right.
Guess what?
I mean, when you get down to it, Xbox is the one that has to make a pitch to make people think
Yes.
twice.
Yep.
So there's no point in being $1 more. Like they just can't. They just can't. They have to match. Even if their box cost $1,000 more to make, it doesn't matter. They have to match. They have
Even
to
if
match.
it's the most powerful, they have to match.
They have to match. So they're going to, and I think that's why the S exists. We've had this question for a few weeks. I didn't really want to burn it, but I'm going to, because the S is very interesting. Because somebody asked us a question like, why would anybody want it? Because it only is like it's targeted at 1440p or 1080p for displays. Because not a lot of people have 1440p dedicated displays, and I think it's a good question to ask in 2020. Like, why would anybody want this now? And I mean, the real question is price, right? I think there's a lot of people out there with a Switch or with a PlayStation that look at an S and they go, that's a way I can buy into Game Pass without investing a whole lot.
Yeah. The only thing I'm concerned with is we're looking at, now they haven't officially announced it, so we don't know 100%, but we've seen speculation stuff, specs on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It appears on paper, now it may run differently based on the operating system, whatever tricks they do, but appears on paper it's not as powerful as the Xbox One X. So why buy the S in that
I'm glad
regard?
you said that, because there's a lot to that. And Digital Foundry will have the last say, and you might end up be right, but I don't think so because of a lot of different factors. It's not a matter of sheer output; it's a matter of efficiency.
Right.
The Xbox One X has a higher teraflop output. The problem is the Xbox One X has the same CPU as the Xbox One, and that's a huge bottleneck. The Xbox Series S won't have that bottleneck, so it doesn't have to have the raw output to equate to the same things. And let's also just point out, the Xbox One X does 4K. The Xbox Series S will not. So the fact that it's in the same ballpark as the One X with a totally different graphical output means that it's going to be so much faster and capable of doing the things. So the S is the same as the Series X in every way but the GPU.
Yeah.
Like it is the exact same CPU, the SSD, and everything. So you will have all the features of next gen without 4K quality. And I kind of agree with the question, by the way. I wouldn't want to buy a non-4K box today. And I say that as somebody who has a Switch, and I've been saying for the Switch for the last 2 years that I wish they did a Switch Pro, right? Because even Switch games aren't 1080p the whole time.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Switch Pro may not even get your 4K, but yeah.
Right? So I understand it. And the only case that I can really make for it is that it's a cheap way to get into Game Pass. I could see somebody out there being like, man, I really like Game Pass, and like you could keep the console you have, or maybe you don't have one. That's probably more apt for what this product is. Because there's no point in replacing your X if you've got one, right? Like your load times would be longer, but that's not worth $100 or whatever. Like just keep what you've got. It's just an option for people that are like, I'm going to get a PlayStation 5 for Spider-Man, but I would like to have Game Pass. And it's like, well, we've got an option for that. I think it's going to be $299. I've been saying that the whole time. Yeah. That's not a bad secondary console. It's not going to be day one, right? But day 120, day 200, when you start getting that second year after you buy your PS5 and after
when Halo finally comes out.
Right. And when Halo comes and Forza comes out, like maybe people are out there, and I'm not trying to defend it. I just think it's smart because Nintendo has proven that not the entirety of video gamers do not care about raw output and resolutions, and quality of games can't be measured just that way, right? 4K doesn't equal, like we say the same thing about The Last of Us, not 4K. Completely gorgeous. Sure. Completely gorgeous, right? So it's like that's a dumb way of measuring, something infinitely anyway. So if you accept that doctrine, go ahead.
Right. Microsoft's marketing around Series X has all been Halo Infinite, which is gone.
Right.
And it's the most powerful console ever.
Which it is.
So but I guess Game Pass is the...
And the S is just kind of their way of trying to placate to the people that aren't interested in their higher price model. But I agree. Like I personally, zero interest in an S, even as a secondary box. I'm like, no, I'd probably just buy another one. Because I would not want to go like I feel that way with Switch. Even the Switch now has basically become a portable machine for me. I play on my Switch Lite. It's really the only way I play 90% of the time, because the on TV product in my eyes just doesn't hold up as much unless I'm playing like an indie game where it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
You know, but like Breath of the Wild or anything that actually is supposed to do something, like every time I put it on TV, I'm like, oh, this could be better. You know,
makes sense.
it's interesting. As for the thing and the MSRP, I love that nobody did the math on the game that was included. Like it's included.
I was
Halo.
thinking the same thing too, because the game's free.
It's really dumb.
But yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing too. I was like, that really wouldn't be 600. It would be like 40?
Yeah,
So
to give the
way,
XP some love. Haley pointed out that they're required by law to put in a manufacturing cost of the contents there within. And I don't know that to be true or confirmed, but I mean, I'll believe it if she said it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we all know that consoles cost more to make than what they're sold for. So again, I don't think it's going to be $599. Now, when the news came out, I did say that I wouldn't buy it at $600. If it was in fact $600, I think I would. I've come back on that now.
I know you would.
The only reason is because I've saved for it. If I didn't save for it, it'd be a hard ask.
Sure.
But I've been saving for months for it. So like I have 500 cash ready to go.
Yeah,
if it was 600, I'd just, I would. But I don't think it's going to be. So I don't think it matters.
I agree. You want to do the next story?
Sure. So Rand told us last week that there was some big Game Pass news coming. And he kind of hinted to it, and especially off air, he kind of told us some things. He mentioned some developers and things like that. I'm not going to mention them. I've heard them out. They're out there. I think one of them's crazy. I kind of don't believe it. That's the bit. It's not that I want to tease people. One of them, it's like I don't believe it. So I won't believe it until I see it. But he said that it's coming.
Cyberpunk to Game Pass. You've heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm just Sean, calm down.
Jeff Grubb jumped off that, and he said the next Xbox news might be delayed after the Halo stuff. He said it's probably going to be delayed till September. But he did continue to hint at something, and this is also coming off the heels of Phil Spencer went on the Animal Talking show, and he said that they have big Game Pass news coming. And in a response on Twitter, Jeff Grubb had the following to say. He said, "Believe it, quote," and he put this in quotes, "I'm ready to play," which led the internet to speculating a lot of EA Play, the EA Access subscription that just got rebranded to EA Play. A lot of people are running off of that, and people are starting to speculate, could Xbox and EA have some sort of partnership to merge their subscriptions or add it as an add-on? I've heard so many different takes on this. I don't know which way to take it best, so I'll throw them all out there and let you guys tell me what you think. I've heard that Microsoft just includes it in Game Pass. Like, just that's the easiest way possible. It's just if you subscribe to Game Pass, you now have EA access. Microsoft pays the money, and that's cool. I've also heard that it's like a cable TV package where if you subscribe to Game Pass, you get EA access at a discount. So it's originally $30 a year, so maybe you get it for $20 a year or something like that, and they figure it out monthly. I've also heard, so the big part of the EA Play rebranding is the EA Play Pro, where you pay a higher price. It's $100 a year, and you get day and date full access to EA games all year long. So you no longer have limited to the 10-hour trial.
Right.
I've heard that maybe that is being incorporated some way with Game Pass, possibly at a discount. So maybe it's $50 a year on top of Game Pass, but you get full EA Play Pro or whatever. I've heard a lot of different ways of taking it. But it does seem like there's a lot of speculation and rumor out there that EA might be doing a deal with Microsoft and Game Pass. And I was even thinking this rumor comes at a good time, because after Halo's delay, I told you that I think they need to go out there and they need to find a game to put in a Game Pass, to launch in a Game Pass, not come later, launch in a Game Pass. And I was not thinking Cyberpunk, because I think the Brinks truck isn't big enough. I said that.
I'm with you.
I was thinking something more wide net casting. And what if it's just kind of like, what if this is a way of just saying like, hey, Rogue Squadron launches into Game Pass. Hey, Madden launches into Game Pass. Like, if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you get it. I think that does something. It's not huge, but it does something. I think that does something for a lot of people. I think that enhances the Xbox Series X attractiveness. Like, hey, yeah, you can buy the other console, or you can buy this one, and you get Star Wars for free. You get Madden for free. That's not a terrible pitch to counteract, like, the masses, affirmation that is Spider-Man.
I mean, if you had a console that has Madden has the EA games for free. I mean, that's almost a no-brainer.
I kind of agree.
It's not free, but
well, if it's just included in Game Pass, like, and so there is some benefit here, right? I wanted to say that. I'm sorry that I left that off. I'm really excited to see Xbox start to move the needle with their Game Pass subscriptions, because they're starting. We've been saying it forever, right? Game Pass is the platform. Like, that's a buzz thing on Twitter. Everybody's saying it, but Xbox has yet to really treat it like that. But today, even I'm not sure if you guys saw it. If you guys buy, I think it's Justice League. If you're a Game Pass subscriber, you get half off. That's the ticket for Game Pass, because they're starting to do it, right? Like, you can get Grubhub and you can get Spotify. Like, they're starting to treat Game Pass as a way of marketing a mass amount of people to other people. And they probably have some data that says, like, I don't know, I'm just going to throw out a weird number. It's not meant to be true, but they probably have some data to be like, half of our Game Pass subscribers subscribe to EA Access. So EA, what if we make you whole, and then we'll just incorporate your games into Game Pass? Because if they incorporate into Game Pass, think about it this way. You don't have to launch the EA Access app to download the games. You just see them in Game Pass like you already do. You get xCloud for Madden and NBA and Star Wars and all the other EA stuff. Like,
EA doesn't have an NBA game.
They do. They have Live.
Nah.
It's middling, but they have it.
Hasn't been there for 2 years, 3 years.
Right. But you get what I'm saying. Like, you have all these added benefits to EA by joining their subscription that's infinitely more popular than EA Access on this one platform.
Well, if you notice, NBA 2K just dropped off, or is dropping off of Game Pass on September 1st.
Yeah.
It might be related. It might not be.
Yeah,
related.
I have no idea if it is or not. We're speculating here, but like, I'm just trying to come up with scenarios where Game Pass and EA Access makes sense, and I think that's one of them. Like, that gives them a lot of value. And I was even thinking, like, maybe it's not you get Game Pass, maybe you get EA Access for free. Maybe it's not free. Maybe it's, if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you get everything that's in EA Access Vault for free. So not the new games, but all of the games as they come to the Vault. Because that would be like 300 more games in the Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
I threw 300 out there, but there's a lot of games in EA Access.
I would say
Xbox.
I looked.
There's a lot. It's not 300, but there's a lot of games in there.
Well, no, see, that's kind of what I'm questioning here. So I looked at your EA Access, because for whatever reason now I can actually, I don't know if I can use it, but I can see it now as Game Share Partners. Before nice. I couldn't see it. So I tapped into it just to see what was there, and there wasn't more than 40 games.
Oh, there's way more than that. That's for sure. So you're not seeing everything. Okay. The Vault has every sports title for every year that's come out, like in the last 10 years. And then
I definitely see that.
It also has all the 360 games. That's the thing where the library really picks up. It's got all the 360 experiences that you don't get on other platforms.
All right, I'm all right. Let's see. Number one, if this happens, I think the most likely is your option one there, where you just said EA Play comes to Game Pass. It's included the old games, not the new stuff.
Right, that's the easiest one.
My issue here is I don't consider this big Game Pass news, because I really if it was every new Madden drops, every new Star Wars game drops, yes, that's big. I don't see that being likely. I don't see EA giving up those rights when their games, even though while maybe not the top of the gaming priority for us here at PSVG, they sell a gajillion copies of Madden a year. I don't see the incentive for Microsoft to say, hey, we'll give you some money. I don't see it being what they would make otherwise. Like, it'd have to be incentivized to be like, all right, it's worth our while to do so. The secondhand market, yes, they lose a ton of money on that when people trade it in. You can buy Madden for like $10 a year after it's been out. That declines the value, which makes me think it would be the older games if they do it.
Right.
But I don't know that the quality of those games, like, to me, that's just as middling as we talk about some of the stuff that Xbox Studios is giving us. It's not always great games. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're okay. I just see more of that. Like,
I just
you got
pulled
Battlefield
up,
Hardline. You get to play that now. It's like,
sure.
okay, that's been on sale for $2 90 times. What difference does it make that I need to now
right, but
potentially
think about it
pay
differently.
more to get access
It's the PlayStation Now argument that people have brought up. Let's say it is the Vault, right? Madden usually comes to the Vault after 6 months after release. So that means after 6 months after release of every EA game, so Titanfall, Star Wars, Rogue Squadron, Madden, NHL, Battlefield, they all just come to Game Pass for free? That's pretty big news.
So I
would disagree with you there.
I waited as a primary PlayStation gamer, waited for years for EA Access to come to PlayStation. And it finally comes a year ago, and I subscribed to it. I think I played Madden early, and then never touched it again. And I dove into a couple other games, and I liked the Madden game. It was good. I mean, I didn't buy it. The reason that I wanted EA access was to not buy the sports games. It was to have access to them. Well, what I found was 6 months later, I didn't care about it. I want to play Madden when the NFL season kicks off.
Right.
So
and that's why I liked
once EA Play, and the EA Play Pro has been around for a long time on PC, and it's still on PC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was called something different,
right?
But so until that comes over to console,
But if you're an EA subscriber, you're still getting the 10 hours, so you can still play like day one.
Right, but my experience is I just didn't.
I got you. Oh, look, I mean, I can't tell you to play, EA games if you're not into it, right?
Right.
There's nothing I can do about that. Kevin, I'm looking up true achievements. It looks like there's 88 games on here. I'm not seeing a whole lot of Xbox 360 titles. I think this is just 88 Xbox One games. That are in the vault, because I'm looking for like legit. Things like Black and things that I know are there. Yeah. They're not on this list, so I don't think they're including them.
But I mean, that also includes Madden 13, Madden 14.
It does.
15,
it does. And
Madden
it's like
16.
NHL 15, 16, 17, of course. Yeah. And it's got like Dead Space 1, 2, and 3 and all that stuff.
Don't get me wrong. Like something like this would have some gems in it. But if it's something that Microsoft is going to say, hey, as a Microsoft gamer, Kevin, you now need to spend an extra $10, $20 a year on top of your Game Pass, I don't know that there's enough there for me.
That's the point.
For the dude bro gamers that just play Call of Duty and Madden that we like to poke fun of, that might be a great deal. So you sit there and say, hey, Joe Schmo, you can buy this new Xbox Series X, get Game Pass.
See, I think
EA
the
access,
big news,
you got everything you need.
I think the big news is that Microsoft just brings it in and they incorporate it. That's the big news. Is that there's no cost to anybody. It's just now a part of Game Pass. If you had a subscription, it's been converted. Like that's the big news. Is if you buy Xbox and you buy Game Pass, EA is just a part of it now. It's just a partner.
So this article that I just pulled up is from May 2019. So it's over a year old. But at that time, EA Access and Origin Access had a combined 3.5 million subscribers. So, and that was actually before PS4 launched. So I don't know what that number is.
So that's what I'm saying.
Maybe it's double that now.
By marketing to the platform, we know that Xbox has over 10 million Game Pass subscribers. So if they go to EA and they're like, hey, like we get you over here, you'll probably make up on DLC and stuff what you're already getting for subscriptions.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. Where if you have an audience of 10 million and 1% of maybe 10% of the people pick that up and put some money into it.
And hell, here we are trying to make sense of the money, and it doesn't even matter. Like it's not us. We don't care. We're not eating it.
No.
Like Kevin, if you had Madden just day and date into Xbox, would you play it? Maybe.
No.
I would play
okay, but Star Wars?
No.
If The Last Jedi launched day and date into Game Pass, you'd play it.
Yes.
So The Last Jedi still isn't on Game Pass.
I know.
So it's not
oh, you mean in EA Access?
Yeah,
well, I know EA Access, but I mean.
So here's the thing too. So to play devil's advocate here, like I said, this would be cool if this is all true. This is cool. Why bother rebranding it to EA Play if it's not going to matter? Like if it's just part of Game Pass,
I think the EA Play part
on
was
PlayStation.
That's for PC, really. They haven't announced
PlayStation and on PC.
Yeah, the Pro hasn't come anywhere else.
Right, but why even change the name at all if it's only two platforms anyway? Like what's the?
So I heard a reason for that. I mean, I don't know if you want to hear it, but I heard a reason for that, and I actually think it makes a lot of sense. The reason that I heard on another podcast was they think the name is better marketing strategy. They think EA Access sounds exclusionary, where they think EA Play sounds welcoming. Okay, I literally heard that reason, and I was like, that's probably it.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to argue it because, like you said, this would be cool, and if it's free to Game Pass, that's even better. It's a great thing. I don't know, like you and I have talked numerous times now, like we need that one killer app to come through and help with this Xbox Series X launch. I don't know that this is that because once again, what are they going to have for launch? It's a cool added feature.
Yeah.
Great. More for Xbox, Team Xbox, Team Game Pass. Let's just continue that value add. is just not what I would have hoped for, but I would definitely try out certain things every now and then.
Sure, and I don't think it is either. I do think though, let's say the partnership is what we think it is. Let's say they just include subscriptions.
Yeah.
I do think it paves the way for them to maybe cherry pick a game or two from EA to launch into Game Pass.
That would be great. Yes,
like down the road, like let's say they announce this and they're like, hey,
Rocket Arena 2.
EA Access is now a part of Game Pass. If you're a Game Pass subscriber, guess what? You're going to get Dragon Age launching into Game Pass. Like, it could be something like that.
Yes.
But I agree with you. I don't think this is going to make anybody run out to buy an Xbox like right out of the gate. But I think it's definitely added benefit for your value. And I'm excited to see what Game Pass Ultimate could be now that Xbox is treating it like what I think they're treating it as. It's kind of like they're going around and they're shopping this user group that they have. They have this group of people. They're like, hey, if you cut us a deal, we've got 10 million people that are dying to play your game, and here's all the stats that we have that can show you about what they'll do. And let's show you what the DLC that these people buy. Look how much we sold DLC for this game when it came to Game Pass. Look how many people bought this, and all the other consoles. Look how much console sales went up on PlayStation when they brought their stuff to Game Pass. I know people don't want to hear that, but that's a powerful tool. It's a really powerful tool when you're at the negotiating table. Yeah. And I think all of this are signs that Xbox seems to be swinging that gavel that direction. And I don't know. I think it's exciting. I think it's cool. I'd be excited to see what it could be. And I just want to say, I've had EA Access since it launched. And every year I look back like Seth does and I go, did I really play it a bunch? And every year I play Madden like 6 hours the day it comes out.
Sure.
And then I stop playing it for something else. And then eventually comes the Vault and I keep playing it anyway. Jack plays Madden. I don't think I've ever exhausted my 10 hours on a demo and felt like, oh, I need to buy the game. That's never happened. But I've definitely taken advantage of those 10-hour demos a bunch. And I plan on doing the same with Squadrons or whatever it's called. What's it called? What's the Star Wars
Squadrons.
Game? Is it Squadrons? It's not Rogue Squadron, right? It's just Squadrons.
No.
Squadrons.
If it even gets a demo, EA. Of course, it's a different game than Jedi was. But Jedi didn't get the demo.
They might not because it's a smaller experience. We know about limited things they may.
They
may keep that, but yeah.
And what one thing that turned me off of EA Access was NHL when it launched. The promotions, you get 10 hours of time. So I downloaded it. And then just whatever happened, I wasn't able to play it for the 5 days before the actual game. So I get on launch day thinking I'm going to get 10 hours. And I didn't get it. It was done. My preview was over. Which wasn't, and maybe that was it. Maybe that's a well-known thing. I don't know. But that was like, oh, well, this isn't what I thought I was getting. And then I just never have played it. So I didn't renew it. I may get it on Xbox, partly because of the 360 games.
I think that's. I know we talk a lot about backwards compatibility and how much it does or doesn't, mean a thing. I brought that up a bunch when EA Access finally came to PlayStation. It came to PlayStation for the same price without any of the 360 library, and I think that's a huge part of EA Access. Like I was kind of wondering, like, why are people buying that? You're missing half of the games. But obviously, I wasn't thinking just sports games. I was thinking like largely like you're missing Dead Space. Like what are you doing? Right. Like there's a lot of 360 games that EA did really well that are fun to play.
But for $30 a year,
it's
if you can hold off from buying, it's a good deal. Plus, I play Apex Legends, and any purchase on that you get 10% off. So I've gotten I got my $30 out of it, but I didn't get as much value as I could have.
Sure. All right, moving on. We're going a little long here. Phil Spencer showed up on Animal Talking, Gary Whitta's Animal Crossing themed talk show on Twitch. And he had this to say. I will say, number one, he for once did not look high, thanks to the graphics of Animal Crossing. But Phil said, we want people to feel like they're a member of Xbox. And that membership in Xbox isn't about one device. It can be multiple devices. I want to have a great experience on the television, and I think Xbox Series X is absolutely going to deliver that. And I'm incredibly excited by the lineup of games that we're building. What games? But it is a fundamental difference than the traditional console wars people talk about. How many consoles do I sell versus how many consoles does another company sell? Sony or Nintendo or other companies back in the day were just not. That's not our approach. If a traditional console war was our approach, we wouldn't put our games on PC. We wouldn't put our games on Xbox One. We wouldn't do xCloud and allow people to play their games on their phones.
I put this in here because I thought I think it was really hitting a statement at the right time with the Halo delay for one. Two, I brought this up because I get the sense, and this might just be, if you think I'm being fanboy, I want you to tell me. I get the sense from our Discord, the folks I follow on Twitter, the podcast that I listen to. I hear people say Xbox is playing by a different game, and then measuring Xbox by the same standards that they measure PlayStation and Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very contrasting and it's contradictory. And I wanted to put this in here because I want to give credit to Xbox for walking the walk and not just talking the talk. I think there's a lot of case to be made that Phil Spencer says a lot of fluffy things. Like if you go back and quote Phil Spencer for the last 4 years, every year is the most amazing year in gaming, right? Like there's a lot. But on this topic, I think he's seriously chosen a side. He's being serious. But it's so funny because I hear them say it. Like they honestly, it's like they say it before they say the other thing. It's the precursor to the but. They go, well, Xbox doesn't care, but they're not going to sell a Series X at all. It's weird. And I don't know. I believe in the approach. That's why I was excited to join the Empire with Nathan when I did. That's why I decided to keep it going with Empire as he stepped away. I believe in this approach. I'm with it. I buy their mantra. I'm all about it. I'm all in. And I think they are too. I just don't think I'm going to say you, Kevin. It's mainly Kevin. I'm going to say you or our Discord or maybe even better, the global we as video gamers have caught up to it yet. I think we say it. We think we see it, but we've still yet to adopt it as like a reality or a potential possibility that they really don't care. And it's not that they don't care. I'm sure they want to sell as many Series X's as possible. That's why they make them, right? But the reason they're selling them or how they're selling them is they're like, hey, you love Xbox? You love the Game Pass games you got? What if they were better? Buy this new console. They're better. But all we keep hearing is, but they've got Spider-Man, but Halo's delayed, but the launch line, like we're treating it like it's a traditional console, like it's Sega Genesis, like it's Dreamcast, and it's totally not. And he's right though. It's that second phrase, right? He's completely right. Before you go, well, he's just saying that because they're losing, you're saying, but it's not. No. Because if he was being dishonest, he wouldn't put their games on PC. You wouldn't make them available via the phone. Like, they're walking the walk. They're literally telling you, you don't have to buy a Series X. You don't have to. Like, you can just play them on the phone.
Well, that's the thing. And this is where I agree with you to an extent, but this is where I'm drawing the line here. They 100% are playing a different game. And we 100% as gamers still compare them to the other consoles because that's all we have to measure some sort of success. Keeping in mind that Microsoft does not release numbers.
Yeah.
So that always leaves us guessing that it's the worst case scenario when in reality we don't freaking know. What this carefully crafted marketing message is really...
Well, he didn't write it. He said it.
Trust me. This was pre-planned. This was too good of a statement to talk about off the top of his head, especially watching Phil riff live.
I mean, I watched the show.
He's not this good. Right. But I'm just saying this statement was planned. The reason is what Microsoft's game is they don't care if you buy a new console. They care you buy a console.
Yeah.
Then their focus and what they are measuring... To
include xCloud, that's a console. To include your PC, that's a console.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm not disputing that. Their goal and how Microsoft is measuring their success with their conversion rate on these subscription services.
Yeah. Yep.
That's 100% what it is. Because they don't care if, PlayStation, Sony sells... 10 million consoles. Well, how many of those consoles are going to be dropped after whatever game comes out and nobody's actively using that? Microsoft wants to continuously have you always using their products, their services, their whatever. It's become a lifestyle type product for them versus a selling units, because if they sell a unit and you never use it and you never subscribe to it and you never buy a game, that doesn't matter.
It's the razor
but Sony
blades.
Is focusing on
it's the
numbers.
razor blades instead of the razor.
Bingo.
And the thing, it's not like, look, it's not that I'm bothered by it. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm getting. It's just that I kind of wonder when the switch will flip. Like, when will people actually catch up to it and stop treating it like everything is the same, like it's the same across the board? Because I don't think it is.
Nintendo fans want to buy the same game over and over again. They don't want to have a subscription where they just have it.
Right. You see what I'm saying? It's like,
yes,
people act, I guess, here's the thing. Here's what I want to say. People say the statement like, I don't need a Series X. I'll just keep what I have, or I'll have a PC. They say it like negative. They're like, I don't need to. And it's like, that's not a negative. That's a positive. That's a good thing. You're right.
Microsoft's like, but you're keeping your subscription? We cool, man.
We're
That's all
good.
good. That's fine.
That's the issue that
we're going to sell the console at a loss anyway. We'd actually prefer you didn't buy it because we won't lose money. We already have you, dude. Just keep subbing.
Yeah, that's the thing that I can't, like, that's the part of it that I keep coming back to. And I'm like,
Yes.
I don't understand this. People are like, well, I don't know why anybody's bought it. I have a PC. And it's like, yeah, you do. That's awesome. Play on your PC. You can do that. I guess the question then is, I just want to ask people, like, are you actually playing it, I guess, would be the follow-up.
Yeah.
Like, are you playing it? Did you play Gears Tactics or Flight Sim or Ori? Like, did you play it? Oh, you didn't play it? Okay, well, never mind. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to give them a little credit because I think it's real easy to say, you know, like, we want to support all devices and we just care that you're a subscriber. Like, those are nice, fluffy marketing things. It's another thing to say it, and then after Halo's delayed and it's another thing to then stick your foot in the ground and say it again.
Say it. Yep.
Like, they're seriously saying it. I give them a lot of credit for that. It's been a rough week over there for them, and they didn't change a bit. They're like, we don't care.
It's just this industry is so focused on units sold that mind state isn't shifted. Microsoft is ahead of this game in that regards, 100%. And the issue is that as long as not everybody's doing the same thing, the industry isn't going to change, and the topics, the headlines still will always be Sony sells 10 million consoles this holiday, Microsoft sells 3. And you're right, it doesn't matter because the Microsoft may be making more money by not selling the darn consoles. They don't care. They just want you playing. But that will never be the headline, unfortunately, for now, until the market culture shifts.
Do we think this is like 2 years away? Because that's ultimately why I bring it up. It's like, when do we get to the point where that doesn't become the butt after every sentence?
I mean, who knows? If keep in mind, Sony still hasn't pulled back the curtain on everything. Who knows? Maybe they're launching PlayStation now as a Game Pass competitor. We don't know
that'd
yet.
Be cool.
If that happens, then that might change the conversation a little bit. But we honestly don't know.
Then we'd see a real arms race for Game Pass content.
Exactly. So that could happen. We don't know. But do I think it's going to happen? I hope so. I would hope that Sony tries to get competitive with it and not just say, we're sitting on the throne, come and get us, because that's what happened from PS2 to PS3, and we saw how that went for Microsoft. So they have the lead. Don't sit back and just relax again. But yeah, I think until that culture shifts, at least with Sony, not so much Nintendo, because as we always talk about, Nintendo doesn't really compete with these folks. They're on yet a different plane. Yeah, it's a different. It's weird. We have Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo all with different agendas, but we still compare them by units sold.
The same measure of success. The exact same measure of success.
Exactly.
And here's the thing: it's not even revenue. It's just units sold.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if the unit sold is making money or losing money. It doesn't matter if the people that buy the unit buy 10 games or 1 game. It is literally just this one number. Yep. How many units did you move? Who cares if you made 500 billion or $100? Did you sell the most boxes?
Exactly. All right, moving on. We have 2 more kind of stories here. We'll go over semi-quickly here. Microsoft details the new Xbox Experience dashboard coming to Xbox this November. Very sorely needed. Thank you very much, Microsoft. Highlights features here is home screen loads 50% faster on boot up. Awesome. 30% faster load when returning from a game. Also awesome. Uses 40% less memory than previously required. Awesome again. And the store app launches in 2 seconds. That is huge because that store app is god awful on the Xbox dashboard.
And the new one for insiders is great. And it looks like if you've seen the new one, because the store leaked 2 months ago. So if you've seen the new store, basically the entire new UI is built off that same principle. So it's all rounded corners, Metro design. It's very sleek. So I'm really excited about it. They did say that this new experience will be rolling out to insiders in the next weeks. So by the time Series X comes, people are going to be kind of used to this dashboard and ready to go.
Absolutely.
Kevin, you absolutely called it. This dashboard approach, they did mention, totally the new thing on the new Xbox app, on the Game Pass app, on PC. Yep. It is the system, the platform. Mm-hmm. Game Pass is the platform. It's the platform. Yep. It now runs the Xbox. It runs your phone. It runs your PC. It's all the exact same thing.
Market saturation.
Did you see Did you see the video? Either of you see the video?
Yes, I did.
So the one thing that I wanted to bring up about this was they mentioned very specifically that they think the on-screen keyboard and using a keyboard with a controller is too slow. So in the future, when you take a capture with that shiny new screen share button on your new Xbox controller, it will automatically send that capture to your phone for you to instantly share it with any social network you have. So it's just going to ping you. It's like, hey, here's your capture, and you click on it, and you click the share button, and you keep going. As they said, and I was wondering, do you like it? Because I could see some people like, I don't want to use my phone, and I'm sure you don't have to use your phone.
No, it's just
but
that
I think
it's available
they're
right
right.
away. Because right now, when I'm doing clips, like the Fortnite one I posted earlier tonight, it's, you have to save the clip, then you have to upload
Go to the menu.
clip from your Xbox Live to your PC, go on your PC, trim it, and then you have to upload it back to share it on different platforms.
Yep.
If I could just do that easier without having to take that extra step of downloading it and then editing, if I just know it's going to download, great. I don't care if it's on my phone or if it's direct to my PC. That would just be one less step I need to worry about. So I'm for that. I think that's great.
So do I. I don't think you don't have to do all of that to share. But the one thing that I don't like about sharing that I'll back you up on it is if you want to share a clip directly from your Xbox, you have to pre-register your account, which I did years ago, so that's not a big of a deal. But you actually have to wait for the entire media to load and the tweet to send out before you can get back to your game.
Yep.
So if you're trying to do something in real time, like during a load screen, it totally ruins it.
Yep.
Right? So like kind of get it off. Just send it to my phone and I'll just tweet it whenever I'm ready.
Yep.
That makes sense.
That's why I like it. All right, so Game Pass updates. We got a whole bunch going on. So first is stuff that's leaving between August 31st and September 7th, and that is Creature in the Well, Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams Director's Cut on console, Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 HD on console, Metro Last Light Redo on console, the Jackbox Party Pack 3 on console, NBA 2K20 on console will leave September 1st. Red Dead Redemption 2 makes its mass exodus on September 7th as well. But as things leave, new things come in. So as we stated, Microsoft Flight Simulator on PC is available now. Spiritfarer, which was featured in the Nintendo Indie Showcase, came to console and PC.
15 minutes after it was announced.
I called that. I said, how many of these games are coming to Game Pass? I wasn't expecting one the same day, but hey, it did. Battletoads, as we stated, is available right now, although the official release date is tomorrow. Crossing Souls is coming to PC on Game Pass tomorrow as well, as is Darksiders Genesis on PC. Don't Starve Giant Edition on console and PC comes the 20th. New Super Lucky's Tale is hitting console and PC on the 21st. Hypnospace Outlaw is coming to console and PC on August 27th. Tell Me Why Chapter 1, which Donnie's looking forward to, August 27th. Double Kick Heroes on console and PC, August 28th. Wasteland 3 finally hits August 28th on console and PC. Crusader Kings the third, I'm going to say the third because it's fancier, is on PC on September 1st. And lastly, this one is very awesome, and I encourage everybody to play it if you have not already. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard on console and PC on September 3rd, just in time for the kickoff of the spooky season, if you will.
I'm excited that new Super Lucky's Tale is coming. That remix game is a lot better than the original, and I've wanted to buy it on Switch. It's just expensive. It's like $40. It rarely goes on sale. So now I don't have to. I can just play it. I played the demo. It's really good. If you guys, if anybody's out there, if you saw the original Lucky's Tale that came to Xbox first, that was built for VR. It was like a 3D thing. It's kind of bad. Like I played it wasn't good.
I played it too.
The new one is good. And if you don't believe, you can play the demo. It's a lot more of the platformer that you would expect. And that's good. And then, Tell Me Why. Super excited about that. So I got 2 games I'm going to play. For those of you who want to play Darksiders Genesis, I would recommend it. It's very good. And like you said,
I started that.
Resident Evil 7 is great. So
yeah, I may replay it. Just for the heck of it. Just not that we need it because we have it anyway. But it would make me say, hey, I want to go back and play this again.
It's not bad.
Seth, is there anything on this list that gets you excited? I know Red Dead Redemption 2 brings a slow Western tear dripping down your eye into the tumbleweeds. But...
Red Dead Redemption 2, as much as I loved it, and I don't know, might be one of my top 3 favorite games ever.
Sure.
It's one of those, I spent 60, 80 hours with it. I'm good.
Yeah, right.
But I would have, I haven't downloaded it yet. I guess I could here in the next 2 weeks just to see if it looks any better on X. What I should do is just wait until PS5 or Series X and get it there.
Yeah.
Spiritfarer, which I thought when I first saw it on the Switch indie thing, didn't catch my eye, but
people
I think it looks interesting. I think I'm gonna try it out. Especially one other thing about Battletoads is it hit me at the right time, and I know you guys talk. We all talk about that sometimes. Yep. Where this year I played Final Fantasy VII for a month and a half before I beat it.
Yep.
And then I kind of piddled around between some different games, Forza Horizon, things like that. And then I did Star Wars for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
And then I was in a rut for a week or two where I just didn't know what I felt like playing. and then I got Battletoads, and it was a perfect thing. And right now, in 2 days, PGA Tour Golf comes out, and I'm looking forward to that. But then the Spiritfarer game looks like something that'll be nice to. I at least want to jump in and try it out.
Me too.
It'll be a good palate cleanser kind
Garrett
of game.
has nice things to say about it.
Not into. I'm not going to play Resident Evil. My time with horror games has passed.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons, but and I don't remember what the rest of the games were. But
speaking of PGA Tour, PGA 2K21, I am reviewing that game for 2K Games. I will be live as you're hearing this. If you're listening to this the day this show comes out, I will be live today at noon on our Twitch channel. I'm going to take all questions. So we've got a lot of folks that are going to be playing. I will let you know that we have a club and we have tournaments ready to go. So if you want to come golf with your boy, with the PSVG crew, with the golf crew, we have a tag in the Discord, #golf crew. If you want to come golf with us for many weeks and months to come, I hope. We are very excited about this game, and we have a nice little selection of folks that like the golf game, and we tend on supporting it. I've reviewed it on Xbox One. I'm going to give you all my thoughts about it. I'm buying it on Switch too. I'm totally going to buy it again, and I'm going to keep playing it. I'm going to give you Switch thoughts on Shaq next week, but definitely come by. I would love to have you.
One question, if you can possibly answer it tonight, and if you
we do the Xbox One question after this.
Okay, this is the Xbox 2 question.
Okay.
For the tournaments, are they like they're up for a certain amount of time? Like you have a week to play?
Yeah, this is not breaking embargo because you can know this now if you go find it. The tournaments are posted for a duration of time to which you can post your round at any point. Because I have not been able to play multiplayer yet, I'm not sure if we can multiplayer those rounds. I presume we can, but I'm not sure. But even if we can't, I'm going to have, hopefully, weekly golf night where we play together for the tournament, and then if you can't make it, you still can submit your own round at any time like we did with Mario Golf. So in PSVG land, this is the new Mario Golf until further notice. Like we're going to start playing this routinely. So and I do like it. I mean, I can't give impressions, but I can say that. So
that was my main kind of, because I know in PSVG land we don't have a lot of time where we can all get together and play at the same time.
Right. This works out great. Like I told Donnie before we recorded it, I will even play it, and I suck at golf games that aren't Mario Arcade golf. So, but this being able to play it at my leisure to enter the tournament, I'll just throw my name in there to have some fun.
It's fun to play with friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So now it is the time for our official the Xbox One question. Comes from Mr. Bland Explosion himself. Garrett says, is it fair to have the thought about buying a game but then decide to hold off because you realize it might come to Game Pass later? Will this be prevalent in the Game Pass ecosystem, potentially hurting smaller devs?
Ooh, me.
I think I might in some ways think along Donnie's thought process here, which might be scary. A thing, looking at that direct, like you made the joke, how many of these are coming to Game Pass? And then Spiritfarer came right away. To be honest, the game from there that I'm most excited about is Hades, and it's exclusive to Switch this fall, and so I'll play it there. But I would absolutely, if I thought that it was going to come to Game Pass, I would.
Half the games in that showcase are coming to Game Pass, and the reason that I say that is half of the games in that showcase were demos in the Xbox game demo thing, so half of them are coming to Game Pass for sure.
And then the point I think Donnie made earlier, games that are on Game Pass, there are 10 million audience, and if however many % of us play them, people on PlayStation, PC, and Switch see us having fun with them, and they buy them. Like Fall Guys launched into PlayStation Plus. Donnie doesn't have PlayStation Plus right now, or maybe you do. I forget.
I bought
your status on
PlayStation
that,
Plus to play one round of golf with Josh like 6 months ago, and I have had zero use for it since until Fall Guys. And Fall Guys is like...
So you were playing it on PlayStation then?
I was upset. I was upset that I had it, that I bought it and wasn't using it. And then Fall Guys came, and I'm totally fine. Like Fall Guys by itself, totally worth my 1 year of PlayStation Plus.
So I didn't have PlayStation Plus, so I didn't get the game for free from PlayStation, so I was going to buy it on PC. Was able to secure a review code, but that's an example of where everyone was talking about it.
Yep.
Kevin got jealous. Kevin had to find a way to play it.
Yep.
I would have bought it on PC if they told me no, I can't have a code. I would have been fine buying it on PC. So
Yeah. So that's the same effect.
Yep.
Rocket League had the same thing.
Word of mouth.
absolutely.
Yeah, word of
Fun
mouth.
game
just
is fun.
imagine if Madden, that indie darling, would launch into Game Pass, how many more millions of copies that it would sell.
Well, you bring up a
Anyway.
good point that it's got to be kind of not indie. It doesn't necessarily be indie, but it's definitely not the big AAA thing. Like the big AAA thing's gonna sell anyway, but you can shine a light on something that's real good, and if it is real good, like we'll reverberate that message. You know, like Lonely Mountains Downhill is one of those games that
Yep.
I never even heard about it before it hit Game Pass, and I saw Sean streaming it. And I was like, that looks like fun. And then I played it and I was like, oh, it is fun. So we started talking about it. And then when it hit other places, people were like, yeah, no, the Game Pass crew, they like this. So I'm going to buy it on Switch. I'm buying PlayStation, all the other things. It's absolutely.
Yeah, Neon Abyss was another example where
Yeah.
I was talking about it, and like a bunch of other people started playing it. So like it's one that shows like, hey, this gets people excited about it. I think it does work better for the indie games per se. So to answer Garrett's question, for me, I hold off on buying a game if it's an indie to see if it's coming to Game Pass, because that's way more likely than a big title game. Those big title games will come eventually in some cases, but like for instance, when you think about The Witcher was on Game Pass at one point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might
I think
still
it was
be.
at one point. I don't know. But either way, it was well after The Witcher was out. So, like, if you hadn't bought it by then anyway, they likely weren't going to get my money anyway. But it comes to Game Pass, I will pick it up and play it. So, I wouldn't hold off on buying a game I really wanted to say it's coming to Game Pass. But indie games make it so easy to wait and just say, okay, typically with indie games, I don't always have the time to pick one up and play it right away unless it's something I've been waiting for. But when it comes to Game Pass, I am way more likely to dive in and play some indie games left and right every month when they drop. And some will stick with me and I'll keep playing, like Neon Abyss, and some I'll play a few times and be like, not for me, but no harm, no foul. So
Speaking
yeah, I
of
100% wait on indies.
Did you keep playing Ooblets?
I have not gone back to it,
Dude,
no.
my daughter.
I do want
hooked.
to. I've been doing review after review after review.
Sure.
So I haven't had time, but I do want to, yes.
Gotta
It's
play
still
that
installed.
car mechanics simulator.
I have not played that or Cooking Simulator yet. That's coming.
She legit told me yesterday it was better than Animal Crossing.
Wow.
Ooh.
She told me. She looked at me. She said, it's
I don't know
better than
about
Animal
that.
Crossing. She's like, because it's different. Like, her thing was
Oh,
because
it's different, yes.
because of the dance battles and the different like crafting elements and the different story missions and the different mechanics. She was like, it's not the same. She thinks Animal Crossing is too samey.
I
Keep
mean,
doing
I
the
wouldn't
same
compare it to
thing over
Animal
and over
Crossing.
again.
It's closer to like a Pokemon versus an Animal Crossing, but
No,
because you're
she's got
building,
dude,
you're
she's-
collecting.
She's built a
the ooblets.
garden. She's got sprinklers and water fountains. She plays it every day. She plays it every day.
It's Stardew Valley meets Pokemon.
That's good.
Is
That's better.
Ooblets, is that a Game Pass game?
Nope.
Nope.
Not yet.
Speaking of Game Pass games that should be on Game Pass, when is Cuphead coming to Game Pass?
I don't
I
know.
want
if
to try Cuphead,
I don't know if it will.
but
It
I
might.
don't
But if it
wanna
was,
pay
I'd imagine it already would be.
$20
Yeah.
for a
That's
game
right.
that's gonna
See,
have
that's
my
the
tail.
Garrett thing. So, for my answer for Garrett and for anybody listening out there, it's a tricky one for me because largely, if there's a game that I want to buy, indie or not, I'm gonna buy it. I'm just gonna buy it. But there are games that I'm iffy on, and the example that I would use is Raji. Raji was in the Switch showcase. I played the demo for it. I think it's cool. It is kind of a Darksiders, Prince of Persia type game set with like all this Indian mythology and stuff and story, which I think is cool. Like, I want to do it. Do I want to pay $24.99 to do it? No, but I don't want to play it. So I will wait on it to come to Game Pass, and I think it will come to Game Pass. So I think it's there for me. It's like Game Pass makes me try games that I would otherwise never buy. I can't tell you the amount of games that I've bought that come to Game. I own Ori. I own both
Right.
Oris outright. And they're in Game Pass. I've bought all the Life is Strange games, and they were in Game Pass. So that was another thing I saw. I saw it trending this weekend. People asking like, do people in Game Pass buy games? I definitely still buy games because Kevin knows he's my game share partner. I like having a library. So that doesn't stop me from buying games. And to the secondary part of this question, potentially hurting smaller devs, I'd only cite the gamesindustry.biz article that came out about a month ago where, and I know this is not the case for everybody, but there were several cases of small indie devs that were like, Xbox not only funded the development for this game, they funded the development for this game and our next one by launching the Game Pass.
100%.
That has to be, that pays so many things forward. To be able to, one, work without financial constraints. We might have swap fire if Game Pass is around, and I say that jokingly, but I also kind of mean it. Like, no, there's a reality to how much time and effort can be invested in something when you are limited in funds. And if Game Pass is just going to give you that much money just so you launch it at Game Pass, then by all means, like, take that security and make the game that you want to make, freeing that up. And that helps pave the way for Microsoft down the line. Because I imagine when they come back, for your third or fourth game, you're going to be open to talking to them. You're going to want to work with them, because you've seen, them extend the olive branch.
That fostering that relationship until they decide to acquire them. But so to go off of that too, it's not just to give credit to elsewhere. It's not just Microsoft with the Game Pass thing, but you're 100% right. Like, we've heard that story numerous times where indie devs are like, thank God Microsoft picked this up because I was able to make so much money. Epic Game Store has done the same thing with exclusives. Ooblets was an example.
Yep.
Epic helped finish Ooblets. It may not have happened at all, but yet they picked it up. They paid them the money, say, hey, make this an Epic Store exclusive on PC and we'll give you some money. And they did. And it worked out. So these bigger companies being able to foster these smaller indie devs and really create something special and get it out there to people is only a good thing. So I really don't think it hurts smaller devs. I think it may not help bigger devs at all. It may not be like a moving the needle if one of their games hits Game Pass, but for indie devs, I think it definitely is a deal.
I think, like, you look at NBA 2K. This year is a special circumstance with the year that 2020 is, obviously, but they're free on Game Pass, and how many more people have picked that up and then drop $10, $20.
That's true.
One of the things that I like with the bigger publishers is that they will set up their next release by bringing the old release to Game Pass. So they're about to announce the next Fallout, and all of a sudden here comes Fallout and a Game Pass. I think that's a lot of fun. That's really cool. I do think there exists a chance that it hurts people that are not in Game Pass. I do understand that idea, because if you're not in Game Pass, I can't tell you, because of Game Pass, I think I've said this before, I haven't launched the store in forever, because I literally launched the store for the first time just to see the new design. Because I buy games through the browser. I'm usually at my computer, so that's usually where I buy games. So I don't look at the store. I type in exactly what I want to buy and I go there. There's no browsing being done. All of my browsing when it comes to Xbox is Game Pass. Yeah. So if you're not there, I do think there's a chance that those 10 million gamers aren't seeing you as much as they might otherwise be. But at the same time, if Game Pass is what you're pushing, then all the more reason for Xbox to be like, well, this is kind of what we do now. Like, be there, be there or be square. But I do think there's a case to be made there. I could see that. It's kind of like an App Store thing. If you're not being discovered, then you're just left out. So I don't know how they get around that. And I imagine if Game Pass takes off, let's say Game Pass gets to 30 million subscribers, that might be a thing. They may have to, I don't know, maybe you embed like store ads or something, promotions.
Yeah, they could totally do that.
Yeah, you have to do something.
Buy the save 10% now on this while you're browsing
or maybe
Game
they
Pass
have like maybe like if you pick a game on Game Pass, maybe they show you some other games the developer or publisher also make.
Yep.
Something like that. Yeah, they got to do something, because that could be
the
an
new
issue.
The new loading screen.
I wouldn't hate it.
Wasteland 3.
It's commercials.
Yeah,
it's
probably not far away from that, honestly.
Yeah, that's a real concern, I think.
Madden NFL Super Bowl 55, brought to you by
NBA.
NBA.
Okay, whatever. NHL, you just transition.
NBA 2K,
yeah. But, all right.
Brought to you by Battletoads.
Battletoads, oh, God. All right, that wraps it up for this week, everybody. We've covered all the things we need to cover. So, before we go, Seth, where can people find you and connect with you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at Seth Joseph Roy, and you can also find me at gamesreviews.com by searching for Kevin Austin. And you can please look at the Battletoads review. Apparently, I guess I'm not surprised that it's as polarizing as it is. Some people love it, some people hate it, whatever. But take a look at it. Let me know if you think I'm way off base, or if you agree with me, or just try and have fun with the game. And of course, I'm in the Discord, probably too much, but it is very much needed.
Enough.
Very much needed therapy in the times that we are in. to be in our Discord, for me at least.
That is very true. Donnie, where can people find you?
You can find me on Xbox Live, Twitter, and everywhere else at Eat the Hype. And I'll also plug our Discord, psvg.blog/Discord, to join the show. Seth, you're not nearly on Discord enough. You're on Discord like 10% of the time on Discord. You could do more. You could do more.
I would say that you're probably on there too much then. I'll go the other way.
In some cases, yes. You can follow me at PSVG Kevin on all of the things, all the platforms, basically everywhere. As Donnie said, head on over to psvg.blog to check out all the other great things we do as a network besides this lovely show. Go check out some of the other things, and if you're so inclined, patreon.com/PSVG, of course. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend. Thank you for telling your mom, your neighbors, and your great-grandpa. We love it all. But in the words of Uncle Phil, there is no power greater than X.